Hello and welcome back to another video on the JJ Think Tank. So in this one I want to talk about the book The Order of Things by Michel Foucault. And this was a very dense book. This will be a book review, and there are a lot of interesting thoughts in this book. It took me a while to write this article in a coherent manner, and to prepare this video for everybody watching and listening. I'll try to do my best to share what Foucault had to say about our epistemological presuppositions, yes, and basically why philosophy helps us to uncover our epistemological presuppositions, which actually leads to progress. Yes, it can promote discourse, dialogue, in order to reach a higher truth. Yes, this is how I viewed the book, and I guess this is how I view philosophy in one way. Yes, philosophy is a very useful discipline, and this idea of questioning our epistemological presuppositions. I actually got this idea from Jay Dyer. So Jay Dyer is a YouTuber that you can find. He's an Orthodox Christian YouTuber, and he talks about how we need to question our presuppositions. We need to question the presuppositions of different worldviews. Yes, because by doing this we can reach a higher truth. And I think this is what Foucault did in his book, The Order of Things. And it took me a while to read this because it was very abstract, and some sections were really dense, and I had to read over certain passages a few times to kind of understand maybe what he was trying to get at. Yes. Now I understand Foucault was a bit of a dodgy guy. I don't deny this. He was a dodgy guy. He promoted this form of moral relativism, we could say, depending on your interpretation. Yes, perhaps his worldview was ultimately nihilistic, pessimistic, perhaps. But I don't know, because at the end he actually promotes an idea of a new humanism. Yes, based on the Renaissance and classical thought. I mean, This is what I noticed anyway. This was my interpretation, yes. But yes, I understand. Look, I understand. Michel Foucault was a bit of a dodgy guy. I mean, for example, he said that paedophilia is okay. Relations with small girls, small boys is okay. Obviously, this is wrong. Yeah. Here, obviously, I agree with his critics. This is wrong, and this is an example of his moral relativism, which is bad, which is evil. Yes, it's evil. But at the same time, I like to give every thinker a chance. I like to give everyone a chance, and this is why I gave him a chance. Yes, and here I guess we see the symbology of the Russian dolls. Yes, so in Russia we have this symbol of the Russian dolls, and within each doll there's another doll that is smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Yes, and I guess it'll be interesting to find out what this means. What does the Russian doll symbolize? The symbology of the Russian doll, and these dolls getting smaller and smaller. Perhaps someone can comment, yes, and tell us. But yes, I published this in books our superpower on Medium. Before I didn't really publish on these pages, but now I think I might start publishing on these pages in order to perhaps spread the ideas. Yes, it got some claps. So anyway, so I began my video here with this quote. Yes, but not video. I began this article. With this quote, yes, by Foucault, and this is what he said: the visible order, with its permanent grid of distinctions, is now a superficial glitter above an abyss. Now, I love this quote. I think there is some truth to this, right? The abyss is always round the corner if we're not careful. So we need to, fight back against the abyss, confront the abyss, and not let the abyss overcome us. Yes. And yes, so here at the beginning I said it seems that his worldview can lead to moral relativism and nihilism, but if we confront his work directly, there's a lot of interesting thoughts and ideas that I think are relevant to our current times. And these thoughts and ideas, they can shed a lot of light on why Western civilization is in a crisis. Undoubtedly, this is true. More and more people are talking about this. How the West is in decline. And I think this decline is irreversible to a degree. I think a multipolar world is now emerging. But still, we don't want the West to collapse, yes, because Western civilization, it's a unique civilization, despite its faults, yes. So, this is the first work that I read of Foucault, and it deals with episteme, yes, the underlying assumptions and presuppositions that characterize any era or mode of thought. So, Foucault analyzes different eras, yes, in terms of their episteme, what do they deem as being the groundwork of knowledge, basically. And the first passage that I found to be kind of interesting was his analysis of the classical painting Las Meninas by Velázquez. And according to Foucault's perception, it reveals kind of a representation within a representation, and how kind of the representation within a representation, they reflect, displace, or conceal something, yes? And again, according to Foucault's perception, in the end, the double is revealed when man faces the mirror. And when I read this, I thought, okay, this is interesting, because in Lacan, in the thought of Lacan, the psychoanalyst, we have this idea of the mirror stage, yes, the mirror stage, and I think a lot of people are trapped in the mirror stage, and I guess this is an expression of narcissism. If you're trapped in the mirror stage, it means, by and large, you are a narcissist, yes, to a lesser or greater degree. These are kind of my thoughts, my interpretations, yes. And again, here linked as well is the idea that the imagination, it's the suture between body and soul. It's the point of contact where the body meets the soul. So this was again brought up when Foucault was discussing this painting, yes, Las Meninas by Velázquez. And you can have a look at the painting yourself. You can type it into Google and have a look, yes. Now, the next important thought that I came across is what Foucault had to say about China, yes. And he argues that China is the most privileged site of space. And this is in line with my view. I think China, because China is a very ancient civilization, yes, a very old civilization, and they have really developed their sense of harmony. Yes, the art of harmony in China is very developed. It's a very harmonious society in general, and this is good. We want this. We want this in the West as well, because in the West society is very disorganized at the moment. There's a lot of conflict. Yes. And I think China can help us can help us develop this art of harmony, yes, creating more harmony in society. So again, this is why I'm in favor of a multipolar world. A multipolar world will actually bring more progress for humanity, yes. And this is again Foucault's thoughts. Now, he said that Chinese society is the most rigidly ordered and the most deaf to temporal events. That is an interesting thought. It's the most deaf to temporal events. So he doesn't think too much about history, about the past, yes. So, well, this is what we could say, I guess. And it's clear that in the 21st century, China, will be important. China will build this new era, I think, and it will be based on stability and the respect for the sovereignty of nations, yes, and their geopolitical spaces. Because obviously there's a lot of conflict, yes. All the nations around the world are kind of fighting, yes, in order to expand their interests, yes. And I think China will be a mediator between different areas, different countries, yes. So as I alluded to at the beginning of my video, this book was dense, yes, and it covered so many different areas of thought, yes. So this is why in my article I jumped to different topics because I had to, yes. And this is why now I will jump to language and what Foucault had to say about language, yes. So now it seems to me that all that's taking place now in our culture is kind of a commentary. We're just commentating. I mean, this is good, obviously, but it has to lead to something, right? So there's a lot of commentary, there's a lot of discourse. We talk about the text. We talk about events that perhaps happened in the past, or we talk about books. Well, I'm guilty of this now, aren't I? I'm commentating, yes, and this is taking precedence over perhaps the being of language, yes, and the materiality of the text. So Foucault, this is what Foucault had to say. He argues that initially language was totally transparent, yes, and the sign was visible. But that after Babel was destroyed, Tower of Babel, obviously, this famous kind of Old Testament idea, yes, story in the Old Testament, I think. And after Babel was destroyed, he argues, yes, that Hebrew is the only language that it contains in fragments the marks of original name giving. Now, to be honest, I don't know what this means. To be honest, maybe someone can comment and explain this concept, name giving and Hebrew, and kind of what this alludes to. It would be nice for somebody to explain this to me, because I don't really understand this, but I thought it was very interesting to share. Yes, I thought it was important to share, because obviously Hebrew is the language of the Israelites. Yes. Now the language of the ethnic group that cannot be named, beginning with J, yes, and obviously a lot of people hate the ethnic group beginning with J, but a lot of people support the ethnic group beginning with J. So I don't know. I mean, I've come to this conclusion. I judge every person by their character, yes, by their personality and by their morals and their integrity, yes. I don't put all people into one basket. So obviously, I think there are a lot of evil people from the ethnic group beginning with J, but also a lot of normal people, just good people, normal people. They're just living their lives, like the rest of us, trying to survive and provide for their families. Yes, so. I mean, this rise in anti J is, I think, it's dangerous, and it shows kind of a lack of thought. I think it's too easy. You can't just drop into this. You can't just fall back onto this thought, because I understand that some J's, yes, some J's are bad. They're evil. I understand this, of course. I agree. Now, look, I'm in the world of conspiracy. I'm kind of in this world a little bit, and I understand. Yes, but then I just I think a lot of people from the ethnic group beginning with J, they contributed a lot to humanity, to the progress of humanity. We can't argue against this. So. Anyway, moving on, because I don't want to spend too much time. I don't want to waste your time. Now, the next interesting thought, yes, is how the world is constantly folding in on itself. So we this is normal, but then at the same time we want the world to expand, perhaps, yes? We want to discover new things, we want to expand. And here Foucault refers to the famous novel Don Quixote, yes? And Don Quixote is kind of like this. He's folded in on himself. He's lost because he's in this world of fantasy, and then when he enters the real world, he thinks his fantasy is true, but actually his fantasy is false. Yes, this is what we notice when we read the book. And again, perhaps this means that man has become lost in language. Yes, definitely. I think this is true to a degree. And related to this, I provided my own thought here, my own personal experience. I have to say that growing up in London, I noticed this decay of the English language. Yes, I think the English language is decaying because so many people are using it. So many people from different backgrounds are using it, which means that at the moment it's kind of decaying. But at the same time, I think in the future it will also become perhaps more complex and more of an interesting language. Yes, I think, because we can listen to some, for example, some hip hop, some rap. Yes, and in these songs, obviously English is used by Africans. Yes, and obviously some of the songs are awful, but then some of the songs are really interesting. There are new signs, kind of new symbols and signs in the language, yes, that we can pick up on, I think. It's just, yes, my personal kind of thought about this, yes, about language, how and how it relates to what Foucault had to say, yes. And here another important thought that I definitely agree with when it comes to language is when Foucault said that the groundwork of language is its materiality based on the body. So our body is a source of language, and this is true. When you start to heal your body, you start to produce more accurate language. Yes, this is definitely true. I've noticed this in my own life. Yes. So it's based on the body. Morphemes. So morphemes. I believe morphemes are like the kind of the groundwork of kind of the basis of a word. Yes. I don't know exactly, but let me check. Morpheme is the smallest indivisible unit of meaning in a language. Okay, meaning, yes. So yeah, it's interesting. And the unspoken, definitely, yes. So when we speak too much, we get lost, yes. When we step back, when we are silent and we start to reflect, something new can be found. So this is definitely true. And a lot of thinkers talk about this, yes, about the power of silence and not speaking. Definitely, this is true. Now, moving on. Foucault he criticizes classical rationalism in one way. Yes, he says that this mode of thought has a tendency to make nature mechanical and calculable, and this is definitely true. The West is kind of becoming mechanical, like in general, everything's kind of so ordered, like definitely way too ordered. Like even humans, a lot of humans are becoming more mechanical because they're just doing the same tasks, the same jobs all the time, and then just using mechanical equipment. Like when we go to the gym, we just use mechanical equipment, and humans are becoming more mechanical. This process is definitely taking place, yes, and I experienced this as well because when I worked as a delivery driver for Amazon for a while, I noticed I was becoming more and more mechanical. Just because this job, it kept sucking me in, yes, and I noticed that it was forcing me to become like mechanical basically, and this isn't good, yes. And from what I could gather, reading this book by Foucault, he believed it was impossible, yes, to produce a universal science of measurement and order. I think I agree with him. Ultimately, there's always something that cannot be measured. Yes, we can't order everything totally, and again, he links classical rationalism to the predominance of nominalism and skepticism during the classical period. Now, I think ultimately, I think these processes at the same time they're a good force because we uncover more about nature. I think. But I don't think I actually believe in the Newtonian world. I don't think Newton ultimately discovered the truth about the nature of the universe. I don't think we live in a Newtonian universe. I don't think we do. I don't think we do. I might be wrong. Look, I don't know nothing about physics. I don't know anything. I'm not a physicist. I'm just approaching this topic from the philosophical angle. Yes, from the philosophical angle, and I think. I don't know. I'm not totally convinced. Maybe yes. Maybe no. I don't know. But a solution to this is a return to Leibniz. Now, I've been reflecting on Leibniz recently more and more, and it seems to me that Leibniz will allow us to kind of unleash, yes, an infinite fold of multiplicities. It will kind of returning to Leibniz and his thought, and perhaps applying it to various domains, etc., to various parts of our life. We can unleash, yes, this infinite fold of multiplicities, which will, provide greater freedom, yes, for everybody. These are just kind of my speculations, yes, about Leibniz and his importance. And I made a video about this. You can find the video on my YouTube channel where I talk about Leibniz for the first time. Obviously, I actually haven't read any of Leibniz yet, but these are just my intuitions, yes. My intuitions, and I've got this book by Leibniz here, Philosophical Essays. I haven't read it yet, but maybe once I do, perhaps one day I'll share my own thoughts, yes, on what Leibniz had to say. But now, yes, this will be a long video, but I think this is an important book, yes. So hang in there, yes. Hang on. Now the next part was it. So now I'm coming back to language again, yes. And again, Foucault he sees it in two ways. So via the primacy of classical thought, which accords the highest place to the verb to be. So obviously here we can think of Shakespeare, yes, to be or not to be, and personal pronouns, which obviously are linked to be, to the verb to be, or the new linguistics based on the internal analysis of the differing structures of each separate language. This is what Foucault had to say. I don't know. I can't really comment. I've read a bit. I've read a bit about linguistics. I've read a few popular science books about linguistics. So, for example, there's this interesting book here that I recommend, Through the Language Glass. Why the World Looks Different in Other Languages. And this is definitely true. And, I speak two languages, Polish and English, and definitely, because I do, I've noticed that a language, it shapes your worldview, definitely. It does shape your worldview. And I speak a bit of Russian as well, B1 level. And this again made me notice that a language, it shapes your whole world. It kind of, you look at things differently, yes, and it has an impact on your mind. So therefore, ultimately, I don't think there is one humanity. We are similar in many ways. Obviously, we share some aspects. We share humanity. We share our human side. Obviously, of course, but we are different. Yes, there are different cultures, etc., and therefore a multipolar world is necessary. I think this is necessary in order to preserve these differences. And I like this school of thought known as structuralism, and structuralism can also be found in linguistics. and I believe Ferdinand de Saussure, he was the first structural linguist. Ferdinand de Saussure, he was a Swiss linguist. He's an important linguist because he noticed that, you know, language is based on structure, basically. And I think I remember I read one of his works, I think 6 years ago, and he was an important thinker who developed structuralism. Yeah, so he was part of the school of structuralism, and in general, I consider myself a structuralist. I think in terms of structures quite a lot. I think I've noticed this about myself. So, yes, because of this new school of linguistics, this new school, it now teaches us that every language has an equal value. It isn't the case that one language is superior to another, and that one language has a greater access to reality. This isn't true. Every language has their unique point of view, their unique access to reality. Yes, their unique interpretation, and I agree with this definitely. Yes, and then another thought of Foucault was how he said that language is still influenced by the primitive cry. So here we can think of the Neanderthalian spirit, your Neanderthalian side. And I'll actually create a video soon about how we need to accept our Neanderthalian side in order to make progress, yes, in the postmodern world. But this is, yes, for another video. Now, back to philosophy. So, it's clear, if you live in the world of philosophy, it's pretty obvious to notice that Western philosophy is facing a crisis, yes? Because if you take part in the culture war, you notice that a lot of scientists are saying, "Oh, metaphysics is there's no such thing as metaphysics. This is nonsense." Yes, we don't need to talk about metaphysics anymore. Science explains everything. Science reveals to us that there is no need for metaphysics, for God, for ideas such as morality, etc. But this is wrong. I mean, there's so many important concepts that are metaphysical concepts, yes? The idea, logic. Logic is a metaphysical concept. We can't really find logic in the world, but it exists. God, we can't find God, but he exists. Morality, we can't find morality, but it does exist. This is all important. So, and this is what Foucault had to say. He said that philosophy is cut off from the space of order and is instead subject to flux and time. Now, this is true, yes. And I even made a video about this, yes? Heraclitus and his idea of flux, that everything is in flux. And this is true, but at the same time, we need a space of order. We need some order, yes? We need to think in terms of metaphysics and strict structures of order and strict structures of space, yes? And again, this is what Foucault had to say. He said that representation has lost the power to provide a foundation. The tabular space of classical thought doesn't provide explanatory power. So by tabular space of classical thought, he means, you know, all the encyclopedias that came out of this era, etc., all the knowledge, and so forth, yes? And when it comes to epistemology, he says that two epistemic assumptions are still operative until now, and they are namely formalization of encounters, which links logic to ontology, and signification and time, which is based on interpretation. And this was an interesting thought, definitely, a really interesting thought, and Foucault he argues that, you know, this new positivity it's slowly coming to its end, yes, and we need to find a solution. So, as I said at the beginning, it was a very dense book. I don't regret reading it. some of the ideas I kind of were in line with my kind of way of thinking. But then obviously there was a lot of new stuff that I discovered. But I think there's not much left, thankfully. 30 minutes, so maybe 5 more minutes. So when it comes to money, this again was interesting. And Foucault argues that the value of money is fundamentally, at the end of the day, when all things are considered, it's fundamentally based on material reality. And when we think about this, recently money has been totally divorced from the gold standard. Yes, I believe this happened. This happened at Bretton Woods I think in the 50s. Yes, after the Second World War, money was divorced from the gold standard, and we have this fiat money. Yes, which isn't based on anything. It's not covered by gold. Yes, it's not covered by anything. This fiat money is based on trust in the future, really. But what if this trust in the future goes? What if a lot of people start distrusting the future? This money will become worthless. Yes. If people lose trust in the future and trust in the value of this fiat money, then I think this fiat money will collapse. Yes, and I think this is why we need to return to the gold standard. We need money has to have some basis in material reality. Yes. So this again, I definitely agree here, and a lot of economists talk about this. Why we need to return to the gold standard. And again, linked to this, this is what Foucault had to say, and here I agree with him because I thought about this before as well. Is the idea that the farmers, yes, farmers or peasants, they are the most important social class because their wealth is tangible, it's real. They can survive because they make their own food, yes, and they are the closest to nature and by extension God, because God is the unmovable mover. He produces all the goods, all the wealth. So ultimately, the whole system of exchanges, it leads back to the farmer, yes, to the peasant. And the farmer the peasant is the only person who could survive a collapse, yes, because they make their own surplus, and therefore they can become independent from others. Because ultimately food is the most important need of ours, yes, food and water. Without food and water, we can't do anything else. After a while, yes, we die, don't we? So that's why we need to respect the farmers. No farmers, no food. Now, slowly coming to a close, yes. This was a new thought. So Foucault starts to talk about comparative anatomy, yes, and I mean, based on my interpretation, it seems that he rejects, evolution in the traditional sense. Because evolution in the traditional sense, it argues that man is, directly descended from Neanderthals, etc., from all these primitive apes, from gorillas, apparently. But I disagree. I think these species are totally different from us. They're not the same. They're not the same, I think. Humans were made by God, yes. And I guess here, at this moment in time, I've got a contradiction in my mind, because I said that we need to accept our Neanderthalian side, but then at the same time, I'm saying to myself that humans are a separate species, yes? So I don't know, there's a conflict in my mind there at the moment, because when we think about the Neanderthal, yes, they were definitely more... They lived as hunter-gatherers, yes? And now, if we look at the average human, a lot of humans, they're domesticated. Yes, a lot of humans are becoming more and more domesticated, and this isn't good. Yes, we want to become more in tune with nature. Yes, and we want to become a bit more nomadic, like the Neanderthal. So, but yes. Anyway, coming back to Foucault. So, in general, I think he did say that there's no chance that a human came from like a primordial soup of bacteria. Come on. I mean, I think this is nonsense. This is the world of evolution. Yes, materialism, materialist thought. I think this is where when materialism goes too far the other way. Like, come on. Humans developed from bacteria. I mean, this is nonsense in my opinion. It's too humans are too complex. There has to be a creator. So there's no chance that we came from a bacteria. I'm sorry, this is nonsense in my opinion. And this is what Foucault had to say. So there are two patterns. There's decreasing complexity from man to zoophyte, but also an intermingling of kind of continuity between them. And he analyzes this in the context of organs, yes? So some organs are more complex and perfect, others less. But, he then says that these continuities do not mix. So he provided an example of a fish and an octopus. The fish and an octopus, they're similar, but there's no actual, there's no overarching link between them, yes? They're still, at the end of the day, they're different, aren't they? If we think about a fish and an octopus. Because I believe a fish has like a spine or like bones, obviously. But the octopus doesn't, right? You can't find bones in an octopus. So this was interesting for me, definitely, really interesting. And yes, so this is the last thought. This is, I think, the most important thought that Foucault had to say. Because now it seems that a lot of people, they want to merge with AI, yes? A lot of people believe in the power of technology. They think that if they merge with artificial intelligence, they will achieve enlightenment, yes? We don't need God, we only need AI. I mean, in my opinion, this is a nonsense worldview, yes? This shows that something has gone wrong. Humanity has lost its contact with God, yes? And I guess Nietzsche was the first philosopher who recognized anthropological finitude. And he inverted it so that it was, actually the basis for man to overcome himself and become the Superman. The AI machinic Superman. Oh my god. No way. I feel sorry for all those people who want to merge with AI and become like AI. I don't think this is salvation. It's not salvation. And here at the end, Foucault kind of left it out in the open. I wasn't sure if he actually advocated for the Nietzschean worldview, or if Foucault actually, at the end of the day, if he ultimately advocated for a form of humanism, yes. And if he recognised the beauty of finitude. He had like conflicting thoughts at the end. This was my interpretation. And I mean, I agree with his second interpretation. I think we need a new form of humanism. We need to recognise the beauty of finitude. The idea that humans are finite, that we will die. I think this is beautiful, This is the source of beauty, yes? And the source of truth, I think. And this is why I think we need, we need to return to the Renaissance, to humanism, and to classical rationalism. We just need to reinterpret them in a new way, I think. These are my intuitions. So, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. If you agree, if you don't agree. This is why I ended my article with this passage, yes, with this short sentence. Reject the machine and accept your human and Neanderthalian side. Oh. We're definitely living in interesting times. There's a lot of change taking place. So much will change over the next 10 years, 20 years. I wonder what will happen. And already so much has changed. Look at how invasive technology has become. All these phones, laptops, etc. I think they're useful, but you need to keep keep a distance, yes. So because you don't want to lose touch with your humanity. Anyway, that's the end of the video. A bit of a long one, 40 minutes nearly, but it was necessary because it was a very dense book. And hopefully this has convinced you that despite Foucault's dodginess that I mentioned at the beginning, as I stress on this channel, we need to give every thinker a chance, yes? We need to give everybody a chance. Because we all have our own sins, yes? We're all sinners. So some people are greater sinners, others not big sinners, yes? But And I hope this has convinced you to a degree that, Foucault definitely had some interesting ideas, yes? Interesting thoughts. So, anyway, once again, thank you for listening. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. I appreciate you tuning in to the JJ Think Tank and listening to what I have to say. This was a book review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are a new viewer, please consider liking and subscribing. It will help me grow the channel and it will help me continue doing this. But yes, once again, thank you for listening and I wish you all the best. Take care.